This is the Actors Room, episode number 37. And the episode title, Sean Penn. I'm nervous about this one. But here, this is the scoop. We're going to discuss Justin Penn in detail today with my brother Dave in the Actors Room. So hang on real tight. It's going to be a ride.
You know, I started early on this friendship saying, you know, I'll be sycophant, I'll be pal, I'll be coworker, I'll be, he had given so much before I ever met him. Just, you know, in the way that he created an excitement about the work that I and we in this business do. And also, you know, made it very clear that there are no limits to how you can share that human experience with other people through acting. So, as it turned out, we had things in common and struck up, you know, what I might say most valuably was a great friendship. And so he gave me the things that a great friend gives you. He gave, you know, concern and laughter and I, you know,
compassion, understanding,
yes,
motivation,
yeah, encouragement,
wisdom,
all of the above.
Woo! Here we are, back in the Actors Room, and that was Sean Penn, of course, talking about his friendship with Marlon Brando. And that's a nice little clip there. It was an interview he gave a few days after Brando passed away, and Sean was pretty close to him near the end of his life. He even said that he was with him the week that he died. They spent a lot of time together in Brando's bedroom. That's where he died. Brando died in his bed of complications breathing. I think he got pneumonia, but he was really in bad shape. And Sean Penn and him bonded, and they talked about acting and talked about everything else. And that's another reason why I love Sean Penn so much, is because of his high respect for the older actors, and especially Marlon Brando. He really did care for him, and the both of them shared a lot together. So I wanted to play that clip to start off this episode of Sean Penn. And my brother's here. Say hello, Dave.
Hey, guys.
Yes, and here we are. We got my phone in the middle of us, and I'm going to try to position this a little better. Last week, or the last episode we did together, I think you were closer to the phone or something. I don't know.
So we swapped.
I guess
Last time I was too far away with Robert Williams.
Yeah, but you know what? We're going to do the best we can to give you a great show. Talking about Sean Penn, as we talked earlier, how do you feel about it?
He is a very interesting person, very controversial, very talented. There's a lot of layers to him that, you know, I always go into this not knowing as much as, you know, besides the acting, I don't know a whole lot about their personal life or whatnot.
Well, with Sean,
I knew he was kind of
he's a badass.
Yeah, man. Like, if there's an actor, like, you're really kind of scared of, if you met him, he might be that guy. Like there's something, he's got that face, like, he looks pissed all the time.
Yeah, well...
Doesn't he?
Well, in our Tom Cruise episode, you brought up that interview that Tom Cruise gave, and the guy had the microphone squirt water in his face.
Right.
Okay, and you brought up, you know, there are actors out there, you wouldn't even attempt to do something like that.
He's one of them.
And you can imagine, if they did that to Sean Penn, I don't know what would have happened.
He'd punch him in the face.
Yes, and there is a string of incidents with Sean Penn in that very thing, mostly with the paparazzi. When he started acting, you know, he wasn't really big. You know, he was on his way, doing well, and he ended up meeting Madonna on the set. She was filming Material Girl, the video.
Yeah.
Okay? And he decided to visit the set, and that's how they met. So they started a relationship and ended up getting married, of course. And there was an interview that he gave with Johnny Carson right after Madonna got married with Sean Penn. And Johnny Carson explained that I guess Johnny Carson lived right next to where the wedding was and said there were 20, 30 helicopters hovering up. He's like,
my
how do you
God.
deal with that?
Yeah.
And I guess Johnny Carson said that there were people willing to pay Johnny Carson to go sit on his roof to watch the wedding and take pictures. It was that ridiculous. So this is what Sean Penn had to deal with, being married to Madonna, who was, at that time, probably one of the biggest stars in the world.
Yeah, well, there was Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Obviously was the biggest. But Madonna was right there. And, you know, Penn was on the rise.
He was.
He did some movies, but it seemed like he was more known for just being a dick to all the paparazzi.
And I think
Getting
that,
into a lot of fights.
and it really started, I think, when he married Madonna, because then you have two stars, one a mega star.
Yeah.
Okay, and they would follow them around constantly. And the thing with Sean Penn is he has a short fuse, big time. Okay, he's easily aggravated. He likes his privacy. Now, I think that he said at one point he accepted it, but these photographers, they're at you constantly. He said they provoke you. And you don't want to poke the tiger. And that's what they do with Sean Penn. Now, there is a string, and I want to go ahead and point this out real quick here. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to list. I have his, he went to jail. I don't know if you knew that.
Yep.
Okay? He went to jail for 60 days. Now, it was a combination of a few things, but we're going to go over here. Okay. Penn recounted the incident. In Richard T. Kelly's autobiography of Sean Penn, it was called Sean Penn, His Life in Times. Now, he described how after entering a hotel, someone lunged at him. So with his aid of a bodyguard, him and Penn grabbed the guy, ran him through the room to the balcony, and hung him over on the 9th floor.
My God.
Penn claims that he then realized the man was a photographer, let him go, and was thrown into the jail. Now, this was overseas. When he noticed the cell door was open, he fled with his bodyguard and escaped the country. Now, later they pardoned him from this incident, but
Wow.
it's like a movie. He
Yeah.
hung some guy off of a balcony,
Jesus
the
Christ.
9th floor. Okay? And there's another incident where Madonna was getting hit on by someone she knew. He thought that she was being hit on. Okay, she wasn't. Madonna knew this guy. He was like a screenwriter, okay?
Okay.
And Penn thought that Madonna was being hit on. What did he do? Punched him in the face. And later on that same year, he was arrested for running a red light, okay? So they pulled him over, and he was drunk. So they tested him, and that will lead to him going to jail for 60 days. And it was after that, it was the 1989 incident. Now, I'm kind of diving into this stuff now because I want to set up with the kind of life that this guy had way back then and the kind of person he kind of is. Because, I mean, do you agree with me? He's just a volatile character.
He still is kicking paparazzi around.
I just saw one recently.
Yeah, it was not that long ago. They were like in the middle of the street and he just started kicking. He's like, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out. And he just started kicking him.
Yeah, he's like, get out, get out.
Yeah. It's fucking great.
Okay, and we have to bring up this incident, and this is the last one, and it's kind of significant because we don't know if it's true. And I remember reading about this when I was a kid, and it just sort of stuck in my memory, so I looked it up again. Now, I just want to set this up by saying Madonna herself denies that this ever happened.
Oh, okay.
Now, do you know what I'm talking about? This is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go ahead.
do you know the story? If you want to tell it, go ahead.
No. Go
Okay,
ahead.
I guess what happened was, this is the story. Madonna and him are on the, outs. They were just not getting along, of course, for the upteenth time. They were near the end of their divorce. Papers were being signed, and the story is that Penn was sitting outside in his car, outside Madonna's house, waiting for her. I guess Madonna let the help leave early that day, so the help left, and Sean decided to go ahead into the house. And in doing so, scared Madonna. They fought. He struck her, tied her to a chair, and continued to berate her. Decided after a few hours to leave, leaving her alone for a few hours just by herself. He ended up coming back that night, and she convinced him to untie her. And she immediately ran out of the house, got in her car, called the cops on her car phone, and then went to the police station to give a statement. Now, they're both denying this, of course, because no one wants this to really happen. He has claimed that he never laid a hand on her, and she says the same. But I guess one of the police officers that she gave her statement to said that it looked like she had been hit. Now, what these reports tell us, I don't know, but I thought I'd go ahead, put that in early in the episode because I want to get this crap out of the way because there's so much more to talk about with this guy.
Yeah,
So
there is.
much more. And that stuff, it's not good. He's a tough guy, don't get in his way type guy. No bullshit with him. And so I want to go ahead and continue on. And Dave, I want you to go ahead and maybe start off something here if you want to talk about something.
Well, I know we were just talking about that abuse. I know about in 2015, Penn went to sue one of the writers for the Enquirer because he made a statement that he, abused women, abused Madonna, and took him to court. And Madonna testified that he never laid a hand on her.
So I want to put this out there.
So it's kind of like all these years later, his name is cleared. Is she lying?
That's the thing. It's like it was so long ago. They went through a lot of shit together, those two. It was a big deal. When those two were married,
Yeah,
I mean, they
it
were
was.
in the Star magazine, People magazine.
Oh, they were in all.
Oh my God, they were in it all the time. I just kept on reading up about their relationship and how fucked up it was. Kind of a big part of his life at that time. It was a big part of his life at that time. And he will end up saying that his marriage to Madonna, although rocky, he does think very highly of her now, and says that first date turned into a marriage, and we fought. We also got along very well too. So there you go. Just wanted to point that out, and I wanted to say that I don't want to believe that he hit her. I just don't want to see that. Or
I agree. You lose a lot of respect. Obviously, that's unacceptable. It's fucking bullshit if it's true.
Yeah.
But the fact that she denied it leads me to believe it didn't happen. But
You just don't know.
I guess we don't.
Only people that know are Sean Penn and Madonna.
Yeah.
And they seem to be okay with each other right now.
Yeah.
I mean, she could have easily said, "Yeah, he hit me." Mm-hmm. I would think that if he did hit her, she would say that he did.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
I don't know. Okay, so pushing all that stuff aside, wanted to get that out of the way because Sean Penn, in my opinion, I think I would put him top 5 all time.
I agree with you.
Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so okay,
I was gonna ask you, is he better than Cruz?
yes.
I agree.
Do you agree? And I don't even think it's close. And I love Tom Cruise, and we talked about it for 3 hours
Yeah.
and how good he is. But Penn,
There's so many more layers to Penn, and his versatility goes a long way with me.
his versatility, yeah.
That's why I love Robin Williams so much, and when these actors are able to play all these different characters, and to do it so believable, there's a lot to be said about that. So I put him ahead of a lot of people.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I put him ahead of De Niro.
Okay, so we were to say top 5. Mine would be Marlon Brando, okay? Jack Lemmon,
Oh yeah.
Jack Nicholson, and I have De Niro pretty high, but I don't know if I put him top 5 anymore. Laurence Olivier,
Well, I can't do that.
okay, and Sean Penn.
Okay.
That would be my top 5.
Okay.
If you're to have it, do you have?
It's tough, man. I mean, obviously Brando's one, and Lemon is up there too.
What about Jimmy Stewart?
Um,
I don't know if I put him top 5, maybe top 10.
yeah, that's tough.
You also got some of the older actors like Henry Fonda, okay, James Cagney.
I don't know a lot of their work, though.
But right.
I really don't.
Right.
I mean, that's where I would put. I would put a Christian Bale over a Jimmy Stewart.
You're a big fan of Christian Bale.
Yeah, his versatility is just as strong. To where. Yeah, I don't know. I've never really sat down and made a list like you did.
I know. I did.
I know
all that
there's
stuff.
I know there's some that I disagreed with or I'd move ahead.
Yeah.
But I never really made my own list, so
Yeah, but the
I don't
fact
know.
is, we
He's pretty
hold
fucking
him
high.
in high regard as far as an actor goes. He has stated in the past many, many times, and still to this day, that he doesn't like being an actor, and he does mirror Brando in that way, where Brando would diss acting. Oh, it's a bum's life, and it doesn't mean anything. Well, Sean Penn's different. He knows it means something, right?
Yeah, I think he does. There's something. He does a lot of movies that he feels are important.
Yes.
So he does. He takes it very seriously, and he doesn't half-ass it, which is another thing I respect. So yeah.
Okay.
He's different from Brando. Brando was just cashing in checks
For a while, he was
for a long time.
in the '60s
He
and
didn't-
'70s.
Yeah.
Right.
Where Penn may have done that a little bit here and there,
I'm
but I
not
think he
sure.
really has made a career of movies he really wanted to do, and because he felt strongly about
yeah,
it.
he felt strongly about them, cared about them.
For sure.
Took his time with it. Doing my research, I really didn't find too much of him preparing for roles. I think that he's just so in tune with what he's doing, what his point is, what he tries to bring across to the audience, that he finds it pretty easy to slip into another character, I think. One of those rare talents that has that ability. And I want to go ahead and dive a little bit into his childhood. Not much. I didn't find much about his childhood. From what I get, he was a pretty happy kid. He grew up in a household. His dad, Leo, was an actor / director. And his mother, Eileen Ryan, she was an actress as well. She studied at the actor studio. I think they both did. His dad and his mom in the 40s with Lee Strasberg. They did off-Broadway plays, did Broadway plays, and eventually moved out to California and set up shop there. Santa Monica is where they lived. And from what I get, he was a happy kid. He's got a brother. His brother's younger.
2 brothers.
He does. You're right. He has an older brother, Michael.
Yeah,
Okay.
who's also in the business. He's,
Yes, he is.
Oh shit.
He is a.
Michael Penn is a composer.
He's a composer. He's
He
an
did
artist.
Jerry Maguire.
He did the soundtrack for Jerry Maguire. Yes.
Yeah. I also have The Last Kiss and Heart 8. And he's been married to Amy Mann since '97. Amy
Yes.
Mann did Magnolia.
And what's weird
The
is
music.
that Michael Penn did the composing for Boogie Nights years before with PTA.
Oh, really?
And then Michael met Amy Mann that same year that he made Boogie Nights.
Okay.
And lo and behold, Amy Mann does the soundtrack
Magnolia.
for Magnolia. Goes to show you. It's all
Network.
about who you know.
Yeah.
And I thought both of those soundtracks were tremendous.
Mhm.
You know, and he's very talented. I guess Michael Penn had a string of songs and albums in the 80s that were moderately popular. They were critical successes. So, I mean, there you go. What a family, right? Talented as hell.
And of course, Chris Penn.
And Chris Penn is
from
younger.
Footloose and Reservoir
Yes.
Dogs.
Yep.
Passed away at 40, you said?
Heart disease.
Yeah.
He never really took care of himself.
He didn't look like it.
Yeah, at the end there, he was getting kind of chubby.
Yeah.
Wasn't he?
Chubby, that's a nice way of putting
Yeah,
it.
I mean, he always was a bigger type of guy, as opposed to Sean.
Yeah, after Footloose, I mean, he was pretty fit in Footloose, but then again, he was probably, 18 years old?
Yeah, he was pretty young, and the both of them acted alongside each other in At Close Range with Christopher Walken, and even the mom was in that movie as well.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes,
Okay.
she would pop up in Sean Penn movies from time to time, along with Chris. They seemed like they were a really close family. They shared a lot of interests, of course, in the arts, and it goes to show you just how hard-driven that family is in the entertainment field. They just are. And Sean ended up being the biggest star of the family, of course, and will go on to have just a tremendous career. So I don't know how you want to get things started. Where do you want to start?
I don't know, man. As far as like the first movie he did, start there.
I want to go ahead before we start talking about his movies. I mentioned he went to Santa Monica, right? That's where they lived. Well, he went to Santa Monica High School. And here we go. Sean Penn was, I think, the class of '78. But from what I gather, he didn't graduate. He was a dropout. I think he dropped out when he was a senior. Okay? Emilio Estevez graduated in '80. So they were in the same high school.
Okay.
Rob Lowe graduated 2 years later. Okay, same high school. Charlie Sheen graduated a year after that with Chris Penn. Now, Chris Penn and Charlie Sheen were kind of close because they were in the same grade. Okay, and their story is that they would all get together, Sean, Emilio, Rob Lowe, Charlie, and Chris, and make movies together in high school. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Rob Lowe kind of talks about that in his
He did.
his first book.
Did you remember what he said? I can't remember what it entailed. Did he get into details?
He a little bit, and I can't remember. And fuck, I wish this is so long ago. I listened to the audiobook, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, that audiobook.
Lowe
Yeah,
does
it's good
a
stuff.
Great job. But I remember one of them fucked up their leg or something. They tried
Okay.
to do some stunt, and
Okay.
the one I don't remember which one of them broke their leg or fucked up their leg. But yeah, I mean, that's crazy to think of. These guys,
All those
as
guys,
fucking
right?
kids doing movies, and they were.
They're all close knit.
And they had such a great opportunity to get into the business because Martin Sheen obviously was a good
Yeah. Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez's dad, Charlie Sheen. Their real name is Estevez, by the way. Charlie decided to go with the stage name Sheen when he got into the business, and Emilio decided to keep the name. So Estevez is their real name. So it's
Sheen took it after his dad.
Charlie is really Charlie Estevez.
Right,
In the
yeah.
yearbook, that's their name. When you look
But he
them up,
was
yeah.
jumping on his dad's.
Yeah. Didn't Rob Lowe have that one story where I guess when they were kids, Rob Lowe would go over to the Estevez's house and hang out, whatever, and he said that Martin was in the middle of making Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, and he's
Right?
Yep.
And he was insane. So into the role, he was up in a tree or something like that?
Well, no, he was. They're walking down like near the house, and Martin Sheen was like hiding in the fucking bushes and scared the shit out of him. He was all decked out in like an army gear.
Right, he was all ducked out. Oh my God. Camouflage. Scaring the shit out of the kids.
Yeah.
But I think I remember Rob Lowe saying how neurotic Martin Sheen was at that time, and I think he was during the whole Apocalypse Now experience that he had. Oh
Lost
my
his fucking
God.
mind.
And Sean Penn would end up saying that he felt Marlon Brando's performance in Apocalypse Now was one of the greatest he'd ever seen.
Really?
Yes, I don't know if I agree with that. It was good. A lot of improv from Brando
Yeah.
in that movie, and Sean Penn really respected that role, that performance, and has nothing but high things to say about Brando, and that's another reason why I love Sean Penn because of that.
Most actors do.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Come on.
But the way he became friends with them too, and that's another thing with Sean, they would say he would be friends with a lot of different people in the business. He would hold conferences to talk about a movie with Spielberg, and then later that evening, you'd see him hanging out with the Hells Angels. He was everywhere, always making contacts, getting his hands in everything, socially and with the business, whether it's a project or something. He was just always around, always into something, keeping busy. That's just the way he was.
Yeah.
So I wanted to put that little tidbit about high school stuff because I find that stuff so cool.
Yeah.
That all those guys went to the same high school and made it big. So you can imagine that Sean Penn would be one of those people who would call up his friends and be like, "You want to just hang out tonight?" And they would just hang out. So I think that that's what they did, even with Cruise. I guess Cruise said his first time flying into Los Angeles, didn't Sean Penn pick him up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were friends.
They were friends. And Sean Penn ended up driving him to Lucille Ball's house, right? Kind of showing him around Hollywood.
Well, I think it was there was a friend of Sean Penn's. I can't think of who it was. Who was apparently obsessed with Lucille Ball.
I think
or
his
something
last name
like
was
that.
Van Sant or something like that.
Not Gus Van Sant.
No, his name was Jerry.
Okay.
I don't even think he was related to Gus.
Okay.
No.
But yeah, I think he took him to Lucille Ball's house because he was such a fan, and Cruz happened to be there too.
Right.
Kind of like stalking almost.
They were sort of stalking Lucille
Yeah.
Ball. Yeah.
That's
Interesting.
awesome.
All right, man.
Anyways.
Yeah, I think, with his childhood, I think that's, he dropped out of high school and then he studied acting. He wanted to be an actor right from the start. He knew it, right?
Where did he study?
That I could not find out. I think there wasn't a particular school he went to. I think he just took classes. He ended up taking classes with a few other actors and actresses. I can't think of them right now, but he just studied in certain classes. I don't know if he had a technique. Did he go to the actor studio? Did you find any research about that?
I don't know.
I don't think he
I
did.
kind of.
If anything, you don't necessarily have to take on the what do you call that? When we went to the Playhouse, I mean, you make a commitment like for a year or two at a certain conservatory, where you can do that at the actor studio. You can go for like 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I think Bradley Cooper was there for a while. I mean, you watch some of those actors studio things. Bradley Cooper was in the audience for like 10
Right.
of them.
Yeah.
So obviously he was there for a while, and you can go for as long as you want. You can also just take classes if you want. You can just pay by the class. And I think that's what he might have done, like our buddy George Catt. Remember George?
Oh, of course.
He does that. He does a project, and then he
he'll
comes back to New York,
study a little bit.
and he'll take a few classes at the actor studio. So I think that's what Sean Penn did. And do you have a little information about how he got into the business, performing?
No, I don't.
Because I know he did a few plays. I know
Okay.
that for a fact. He did plays and then started auditioning for movies, just like Tom Cruise. Very similar.
Started on Broadway.
Starting on Broadway and then getting he got the role in Taps. I believe that's his first movie, just like Tom.
That's what I have.
Although Tom did that Brooke Shields movie, Endless Love.
Oh, right.
But that was a small role. Taps, I think, is that what you have his first movie as?
1981.
I'm trying to see here. I have Bad Boys. I must have skipped over Taps. I did.
Yeah, Bad Boys is 83.
Okay, so Taps was
And
first.
you also skipped over Fast Times at Ridgemont High,
How did
which
I
was
do-
82.
I thought I had that in here. Wow, we're starting this off real nice.
This is not going well.
I was so interested in his later films in his life that I sort of just brushed over Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which is just incredible.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Isn't it a classic? A cast that's filled with a bunch of great young actors. Eric Stoltz actually is in that movie.
Yeah, there's you got Judge Reinhold, Phoebe Cates,
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
yeah, Jennifer Jason Leigh. And so yeah, if we're gonna pass Taps and just go into Fast Times.
like you said, you never seen Taps.
No, I haven't.
And because we just did Tom Cruise together, we'll move on. And if you want to talk about Fast Times, I don't know if you have any notes about Fast Times.
Yeah, I mean, it's based on, and I didn't know this, it's
Okay.
based on the 1981 book by Cameron Crowe.
Right.
Which I thought was crazy.
Yeah. He wrote the screenplay.
Yeah, it's great. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I have a few notes about it. Penn was really into it. Like, he would
yeah.
only answer to his character's name, Spicoli.
Spicoli.
I think even on his, in his dressing room door, it didn't say Sean Penn, it said Spicoli.
Spicoli. Yeah.
So, it's like that method actor.
He went method.
Like Dustin Hoffman would be proud.
Right. He went
Where would you put Hoffman?
yeah, see, top 10.
And you skip Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh, shit. Right. Maybe I should put Daniel Day
And
higher
he's obviously
than, like,
top 5.
Laurence Olivier.
I know we're getting sidetracked again, but
It's like you said, it's so hard to rank them.
it is.
It's nearly
They all do
impossible.
something great in their own way and
Yeah.
whatever, but
But making that point about him really taking the method to another level and only calling him Spicoli on set. And I went ahead and watched a few clips of this movie again today, and he really does. Like, when he comes into the room, he's late for his first class, and he's got that little note or his schedule or something like that, and he goes up to that dick teacher.
he's such an asshole,
He's
man.
a
He's
dick.
so good.
And he's like, yeah, man, I couldn't find the room. And he's like, here's my card. And he looks over into the class and he goes, hey, man, I know that dude. I love that. Because that's what kids did back then. You know,
Yeah.
hey, man, I know you. And there's a great scene between him and Judge Reinhold where Sean Penn's character Spicoli goes into like where Judge Reinhold works. It's like a convenience store. And he walks in there. He's like, hey, man, you used to work at that burger place, remember? He goes, yeah, I worked there 7 months ago. He's like, oh, yeah, it's pretty cool. And he's buying like a few things. He takes out all this like little change. You can tell like he doesn't have any money. He's completely broke, this guy. And Judge Reinhold's like, why don't you just get a job, Spicoli? He's like, why would I do that, dude? He goes, all I need or what does he say? Like, All I need is those tasty waves and a good buzz to go on, and I'm good to go. Just a great character in film history as far as stoners go, and that whole like beach bum attitude. It was beautifully done by Penn.
Allegedly, when Penn and his pals were, they leave the van to go to the prom.
Okay.
Apparently, he was really smoking weed with his buddies
Yeah,
there.
that's what the director said. They came out of the van or something.
And they were really
and
stoned.
a puff of smoke came out. Oh man.
Good for him.
And Sean Penn himself is a very big surfer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It was like his life. So that role fit him very well. And he lived in California, man. He was surfing. And a movie that came out a few years ago called The Gunman. I don't know if you know this movie.
I know of it.
I watched it a few weeks ago. And there's a scene where he's surfing. There's no doubt about it. They got him up on these huge waves.
Nice.
And it's him. And he's surfing at the age of 55, however old he was at that time. He loves surfing. It's a part of his life. All right, so talking about Fast Times, we'll move on to what?
Well,
Is it Bad Boys would be next?
yeah, 1983, a year later, he did Bad Boys.
Damn good movie. Damn good movie.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that. No. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Bad Boys, he gets sent to prison, so it's a prison movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is the role for me where I see I kind of see the feel of Sean Penn coming to light in terms of his acting ability. He went from Spicoli, okay, to this role.
Serious.
And it's a serious role, and I think he got a taste of that. I could do this too. Now the world is opening up for me. And I have a few notes here about this movie. To play the youth, his name is Mick O'Brien. Now, he wanted to have his perfect teeth filed down and capped with ugly tops and have maybe a few cracked ones, he said. Now, Penn's mother was like, no, you're not going to do it. You're not going to ruin your perfectly good teeth to take on a role. You're going too far, Sean. So he ended up not doing that. And
Probably a good idea.
to prepare for the movie, I guess Rick Rosenthal and Sean Penn went out riding with the Chicago Police Department. On the second night they were doing this, Penn was mistaken for a real criminal and was assaulted by one of the officers. And I want to go ahead and put this in. This is a fascinating quote, and here it goes. Quote, I want to see, now this is from Penn, I want to see more films about the way the world really is. With those so-called escapists or pure entertainment movies, you come out and the world seems so dull. You want to go back inside. But I think reality should be more fun than fantasy. I think the real world's the most exciting thing of all. And that whatever is wrong with it, it can be fixed. I'm an opportunist. End of quote. Okay, very important quote because I think that plays into how he feels about the world and how he feels about art. I have been an advocate on this in my episodes about all these big, flashy movies. Okay? And that was the dog up there, if you heard that.
Yeah,
He's barking at something.
May have heard Finn.
Okay? I'm not big into those superhero movies and things
Right.
blowing up. To me, that's just entertainment. Okay?
That bubblegum
Right.
entertainment.
When I want to sit down and watch a movie, I want to be moved. I want to feel something. I want it to mean something. Sean Penn feels the same way. How do you feel about that?
No, I agree with you. Most of the movies I like, I do like a lot of the superhero movies. You know that. Although at this point, I can't keep up anymore.
Yeah,
I'm
there's so
lost.
many of
Dude,
them.
I mean, it's at a point now where I'm so behind that I don't even know where to start anymore.
It's ridiculous.
But I mean, I do enjoy those for what they are.
Yeah.
They're fun. They're interesting. And I'm not even a comic book guy. It just.
You find them interesting
Yeah.
and fun, and that's what they
They're
are.
fun.
They're supposed to be entertaining, and
But
they are.
It seems like that's the only movies coming out that anyone's really talking about. Or,
I think so. I think you're right.
It just seems like the shift in movies is kind of away from what it was when we were growing up in the 90s and even the 2000s. It seems like
That's what Penn thinks
yeah,
too.
it's almost harder to find those movies because they're really not being. I don't know.
They're harder to find,
it
and
does.
they were easier to find back then. And thank God Penn was around this time and was able to experience that sort of art form that we experienced in the 70s, 80s, and even 90s, I think, right? Even up till then, I think they were still doing some
Yeah.
more interesting things than they are now. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think they're still getting made. There's,
Okay.
man, I'm having brain fart.
That's okay, but I wanted to put that quote in because it explains Sean Penn a little bit more. I think diving into him, getting into his head, and how he feels about movies, about his business and the business that he's in. And he feels very strongly about it. And he only picks the movies that interest him, like you said. Okay? Things that he wants to do, not things that are going to be commercial based. He's not about that. And I told Dave earlier, he's not going to be in these superhero movies. He's just not going to do it. Am I right?
No, he's
Would you
not.
see Sean Penn in a Marvel movie?
He's
no
never gonna do
fucking
something
way.
like that.
And thank God, because I
I'd be
think very
shocked
highly
if he
of him.
does. But
Okay, but you want to move on? I have the next one on my list: Falcon and Snowman.
okay, go ahead.
What did you have anything before that?
No,
Okay.
Nope.
Did you ever see this one?
no, I
Okay.
haven't seen that either. I feel like
No, I saw it a long time ago.
I missed out a
actually.
lot of his early stuff here.
I watched this one I think in the 90s. I checked it out. Because I'm a big Penn fan, I wanted to see every movie that he's done. And this one is co-starring Timothy Hutton in him.
Oh yeah, again.
Yeah, they went through a lot of research together to prepare for this role. They were playing real people. So Penn really did go through a physical transformation, gained 30 pounds for the role, really messed up with his makeup and did his. I think he tweezed his eyebrows a certain way where they would go a certain way, and he really did change his face for this role. And I guess he went to Mexico and snuck into the Russian embassy to prepare for the role. Think about that.
Wow.
He goes to Mexico and sneaks into a Russian embassy just to get that rush, to see what it would feel like to actually do it. So he did that, which I thought was pretty interesting. And I guess he didn't get along with the director of this film. I guess his name was John Schlesinger. They did not get along at all. Now, I guess, like I said, he underwent the transformation. Now, Penn wore deep blue contact lenses, trimmed down his eyebrows, like I said, and used a set of dentures to make his teeth identical to the person he was going to play. And he grew a mustache, real kind of sleazy mustache, and even gained, he gained 50 pounds.
Jesus.
Wow. That's a lot, man. Gaining 50 pounds. That's impressive. And a movie to take notice. It's very early in his career, getting his feet wet in the business and doing a great job. Got great reviews. What do you have after Falcon and the Snowman?
I have 1986. He did At Close Range.
Yes, sir. That's next on my list.
Christopher Walken.
One of my favorites of Penn's.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
For some reason, there is just something about this movie. You got Christopher Walken in this movie, which I love. Very underrated actor, I think.
Underrated?
I do-
Bullshit.
I don't know, man. Maybe just because he's getting older now.
He's so beloved.
Yeah, I
Everybody
guess so.
loves Christopher
I guess
Walken.
so. I'm wrong on that. I take that
Not
back.
even close to being underrated.
Okay, all right.
He's right where he should be.
He's right where he should be.
Absolutely.
But Madonna ended up doing a few songs in the movie.
Yeah, Live to Tell.
So they were an
I
item
like
at
that
this
song a
yeah.
lot.
I do. I have that on my
Great song.
playlist. Yeah. And it plays into the movie very well. Sean's performance is very reserved, I thought. Laid back. He doesn't have really any blow-up scenes that I can remember.
Not that I can remember.
No,
either.
I don't think he did. He was pretty laid back. Mary Stuart Masterson is also in the movie. I thought they had some nice chemistry. And I have a note here, and I don't know if you remember the Christopher Walken interview
Yes.
that he said about the gun.
Yes.
You want to talk about that?
This is great. Yeah.
Go for it.
Did he say this on the studio?
Yeah,
After
he did.
studio?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, Christopher Walken doesn't like guns.
Hates guns.
Hates them. And
Me too.
Yeah, I don't like him either. And when he's doing a movie that has a gun, he always checks it. The prop gun, he's always
Just to make sure.
just to be safe. He checks it. And there's a scene where Penn's holding a gun, pointing
Yeah.
at Christopher Walken.
Oh, and I guess
And-
that would be a blow-up scene.
Yeah, that could be a blow up if you're pointing a gun at somebody.
There we
You're
go.
not exactly calm.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's they're doing this take over and over, and then the director between the take yells, "Get the other gun!"
No, Sean Penn said that.
Are you sure?
Sean Penn went offset and said, "All right, give me the other gun," and then came back with the gun.
With a different gun that
different gun.
Christopher Walken didn't check, didn't know, he didn't know where this gun even came from. And so that reaction that he gets
is real.
is very real because he's scared.
Walken was petrified.
Yeah.
It could have been a real gun with a real fucking bullet in there.
Could have been.
Heaven forbid that thing goes off. You got Sean Penn's history.
In latest news, Sean Penn shoots and kills Christopher Walken.
On set of At Close Range, news at 11. So yeah, I'm sure that was a fun set to be on.
And I also have a note. It co-stars also David Strathairn.
Oh yeah.
Who I think, if you're talking underrated, he's very underrated.
Yeah,
He's
is.
never a star of a movie. Most people probably don't even know him except for he was in Sneakers.
Yes.
He was in League of Their Own.
Yeah,
He played
was.
the.
Well, what did he play? Like a general manager?
He was in charge of getting the league together. He
That's
had
right.
Yes. The glasses and the hat all the time. There's something about him that he's always money. He's very good.
You're right.
And he never really was in like a whole lot of movies where he was the lead. He always played like a supporting role, but fucking nailed it every time.
He would have good roles, but never carry a movie. He would always be a supporting role.
For the most part, yeah.
Yes.
He may have had a couple where
Now,
maybe,
what part... He was just one of the people hanging out at the house?
I don't know, but I have him as a cast.
I think that he was probably just like Crispin Glover was in that movie.
Yeah,
too.
Crispin Glover, Kiefer Sutherland was also in it.
I don't remember Kiefer Sutherland in that movie.
Dude, it's been a long time since
Oh my
I've seen
God.
it. It's been probably since New York, so
Yeah.
we're talking like 99 or something was the last time I saw it.
But yeah, I remember Crispin Glover. I'm a big Crispin... Oh, God, I love Crispin
Was
Glover.
he not in that movie?
Who? Maybe
David-
straight hair? Maybe he was?
Yeah, no, he's
He
cast
was.
in here.
Okay. Small role, I'm sure. Because I don't remember him at all in that movie. Not very memorable, I guess.
I guess not.
Crispin is because he's just so weird.
You
Crispin
think?
Glover.
You don't get much weirder
Oh
as an
my
actor
God.
than Crispin Glover.
I mean, he's out there. That interview he gave with David Letterman on the Letterman show, he's dancing around with those big shoes, and he was flailing around, and one of his shoes came off and hit David Letterman. Letterman was pissed.
What do you expect when you have Crispin Glover on?
These big fucking like clog shoes, where the fuck they are, with a heel on them.
Like, are we talking Kiss shoes? Like
Yeah,
Gene Simmons
like
would wear?
like those high shoes. He's dancing around like right next to David Letterman, like right up by the desk. He's dancing around, and it flew off his foot, and it hit Letterman. And I was like, "What are you doing? Sit down."
No.
You moron.
You can't contain Crispin Glover.
No, you can't.
He's on his own level
of reality.
and you're not invited.
You're not invited to that party. No, it's just a party for Crispin. That's it. He doesn't like people at all.
Oh, okay.
But at close range, I mean, wow. Okay, I have a note before you say yours. This is hilarious. Okay, the role of Brad, which is Christopher Walken, okay, was originally offered to guess who? Robert De Niro.
Wow.
Now, De Niro turned it down because he felt the character was too dark.
What? Are you
Where
sure
was
that's what he said?
That's what I have. That's completely ridiculous.
I'm not sure about. Does he remember that he did Taxi Driver?
I,
Does he was like, okay, I did that, and I'm never doing anything closely, but
yeah.
then I'm gonna do Goodfellas because that's pretty good.
yeah, from what I heard,
Casino.
De Niro pretty much blocks out Taxi Driver. He doesn't want anybody talking about that movie because John Hinckley, the one that tried to kill Ronald Reagan,
Yeah.
he did that because of that role, Travis Bickle role.
Yeah, he tried to emulate.
Yeah,
him.
he did. And De Niro, like, you bring up Taxi Driver, he gets pissed. He blocks it out. He's like,
I
I'm
can
talking
see
about
why. I mean,
it. So maybe he just completely forgot about that movie. But I found that interesting that he turned
That's
down
crazy.
that role.
Wow.
I'm glad he did because Christopher Walken, fantastic in that movie. Fantastic. A major sleaze bag.
Dude,
I mean,
Walken's great in everything.
yeah,
He really is.
yeah. Even those stupid comedies he does, he's good in.
Which ones are you talking about?
Click. Remember he was in Click?
You didn't like Click?
Oh, it's a stupid comedy, though.
Yeah, well,
And he's really weird in it, being Christopher Walken, being weird. Wasn't he also in, oh, God, was it another Adam Sandler movie?
Well, yeah, he was also in Billy Madison.
Billy
wasn't he?
Was it Billy
Was
Madison?
it-
No, it
Yeah.
was something else, I thought. Oh man, it's escaping me.
Oh,
No,
shit.
he was in Joe Dirt. That's what I was
it.
thinking.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, he got that boner.
Yeah,
or
he got
something.
the boner at the end of the movie. She had legs, went on for days.
Anyway, did you wanted to say something? About
No. I was. If we wanted to move on, this next movie I remember watching. This once again. This is like I haven't seen it since '99, but
Yeah.
I remember it being great. Is Colors with Robert Duvall.
Yes, sir. And doing my Robert Duvall episode, whenever Robert Duvall brings up Sean Penn, he gets a little like angry. It's really funny. Sean Penn will come up and he just goes, "Ugh, that kid." He would call him kid. He
That's
didn't call him
great.
by his name. He doesn't call him Sean. He calls him that kid. And during this movie, Sean Penn was going through some shit with Madonna, the whole paparazzi thing. He was in the middle of all that when this
Poor
movie.
Duvall.
Yeah, I know. He was putting up with this shit
Okay.
of Penn just being difficult on set. And you have some notes about Colors because he fell in love with Dennis Hopper during this movie. Dennis Hopper directed it, and the two of them bonded very much so. Excuse me, that Sean would end up naming his first child, boy, Hopper. His name is Hopper Jack
Right.
Penn.
Right.
Hopper for Dennis Hopper. Now, Sean would say, oh, it was just a name we liked. Nah, bullshit. It's Hopper, come on. He
denies it,
He
huh?
loves Dennis. And Jack is another close friend of his, Jack Nicholson. They're very close as well. And I'm going to see what kind of notes I have here. I guess Sean was arrested in 1987 when this movie was being made, spent 33 days in jail for assaulting someone on set, an extra.
Yeah.
Okay? Smacked him in the face. And the reason why is because he was taking snapshots of him and Duvall. Warned him to stop, and when he continued to take pictures, he punched him in the face.
Okay, just a forewarning. If you ever see Sean Penn, do not take a picture of the guy.
I would not take his picture.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god, he hates cameras.
He's just not a big fan.
Oh my god. And I guess Dennis Hopper really wanted Mickey Rourke to play Sean Penn's character first. He was very impressed with Rourke's performance in Rumblefish. I don't know if you remember that movie. That's a very artistic movie. It's got Matt Dillon. It's
Matt
directed
Dillon.
by Francis Ford Coppola and Mickey Rourke. It's a very different kind of independent feel movie to it. I think it's black and white, very raw. And Rourke sort of broke out in that movie. Dennis Hopper wanted him. Rourke couldn't do it. He was doing another project, so Penn got it instead. So that's the note I have on Colors.
Okay.
And a great movie.
Yeah, highly recommended.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's a movie about gangs in L.A. And Sean Penn plays a rookie cop, and Duvall plays the seasoned veteran
vet.
cop,
Yeah.
trying to teach Sean Penn the ropes. And Sean Penn is just this renegade, fresh cop that just wants to, save the world. And he's kind of a dick. And he played it pretty well.
Well, not too far from reality.
Yeah. And before we get into the next film, I want to go ahead and mention that Sean Penn's dad, Leo, was in the business being an actor and director and was blacklisted. And I don't know if you know what blacklisted means, our audience, but it means that they were leftists, okay? They supported the left, and when all that shit was going down with Russia and communism, if you attended any sort of meetings at all, you were blacklisted. And if they found out, they barred you from doing movies. So his dad, Leo, was banned from making movies. So he spent a lot of time directing television shows, mostly, and he would act in television shows as well. But one of the TV movies that he did was called Judgment in Berlin. I watched it last night. It was directed by his dad. Sean's in it. So was the mom. Chris, but Martin Sheen's in it. Another connection from back in the day. He played a big role. He played a judge. And it's the movie itself was slow moving, kind of boring. It's about East Berlin and the wall. You know how they had the wall back then? They had East and West Berlin. So that's what the movie was about, a political movie. And Sean would end up saying that his dad was just very stern with his beliefs about politics. And I think that sort of went with Sean as well.
Rubbed off on
It
him.
really did. He looked up to his dad very much. They were very close. I think that he really trusted his dad with any advice he gave him about the business, and his dad supported him in whatever he did. And I really wanted to point that out because Sean feels that, his dad even served during the war. He was going up in the planes. He was in the Air Force, and just like our grandfather, Robert, he was a tiny guy, so he would be pushed into the gunner position in the plane, where it's that really small area in the plane. He was a gunner. He went up on 33 missions in the war, and they said that in the position that he was in, that there would be maybe 8 missions that you would go on. Well, he would volunteer to go on other missions.
Jeez.
He just wanted to be in the shit and, do it for his country. He loved America. And him being shunned by the entertainment business really upset him. And when Sean remembers as a boy walking around sets, because, that's what his parents did. So as a boy, he would walk around the sets, and one of the sets that he was walking on was a film by Elia Kazan. Now, you don't know about Kazan. He was in the same boat. He was nearly blacklisted as well. He got out of it because he named names. Something that you didn't do back then.
Yeah.
But Kazan wanted to keep working in the business. So he named names and was shunned by other actors and directors in the business. So when Sean and his dad were walking through one of Kazan's movies, Kazan noticed Leo and was like, "Hey, Leo, how are you?" And Leo completely ignored him.
Wow.
And Sean's like, "Why didn't you say hello, Dad?" And he explained why.
Wow.
Because of that. So, just wanted to point that out. And Sean did act in one of his movies called Judgment in Berlin. I don't recommend it. It's on Netflix, I think. That's how
is it really?
Yeah, that's how I saw it.
Okay.
So, what's the next one you have on your list?
Beer.
A beer break? We're going to take a beer break, and we're going to be right back. All right, man. Next up.
Okay, we got the beer.
We got the beer is in hand. All right.
All right, so in 1989, he did Casualties of War, which is directed by Brian De Palma.
Yeah.
Also with Michael J. Fox.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this came out in 89. I was 9.
Yeah.
But I probably saw it maybe 10 or something.
Okay.
Not exactly a movie a 10-year-old or
No, not really.
11-year-old.
I'm surprised you were that young when you saw it.
Yeah,
Our
I
parents
was
were pretty cool. We had cool
probably
parents.
around that age. And if you haven't seen this movie, it's really disturbing. It's kind of a one-timer. I don't know why you would ever want to watch it again because it's based on a book by Daniel Lang, who he wrote it back in 1969.
Oh, okay.
And it was on actual events and an incident on Hill 192 in 1966 during Vietnam.
Yeah.
And it's a rough one to watch. It's basically Sean Penn. It's basically, from what I remember, he's basically just raping this girl, this Vietnamese girl. Almost, it seems like the whole movie.
Oh, jeez.
And that's just what it seems like. Just torturing and beating this woman and raping her, and the other soldiers are taking turns. It's a fucking difficult movie to watch.
Yeah, their platoon, from what I remember, their platoon was pretty small. There was Michael J. Fox, John Leguizamo was one of them. Was John C. Reilly? I don't think he was. I'm trying to think of the other actors, but the point I'm trying to make is there was a small group of soldiers, and Sean Penn was the head guy. He was the platoon leader. And they're going through the shit. War is war. And the enemy is the enemy. And from Sean Penn's perspective, they got a Vietnam girl. Okay? And Sean Penn had it in his mind. They were all going to take turns with this girl. And they had to do it. Are we in, guys, or are we out? Well, Michael J. Fox was out. He had nothing to do with it.
John C. Reilly is in that.
Okay.
And he and John C. Reilly and Michael J. Fox, I think, were kind of buddies in this troop. And John C. Reilly, I think, was kind of on that. Michael J. Fox was the good guy. I'm not doing that. This is wrong.
Yeah.
And John C. Reilly, for the most part, was on his side of this is wrong. But I think near the end, he does kind of...
He does. He did participate.
He does.
They all did, except for Michael J. Fox.
It's a brutal movie.
Oh, it is.
I don't recommend it. It's...
Yeah, I don't think it's a movie I recommend either.
No,
maybe just for the acting, because I'm going to say this right now. I believe that Michael J. Fox acted better in that movie than Sean Penn.
Wow.
Not one of my favorite Sean Penn movies because I really don't think he did a very good job. And that's the only one
Really?
I didn't like his acting in. Yep. That's the only one. I remember that.
Huh.
And when I went back and I watched like little clips of this movie when I did the Michael J. Fox episode several weeks ago. And I remember feeling the same way today that I did back then. I just was not impressed with Sean. I thought he pressed a little too much in this movie. I don't know why. His character was very macho. More macho than Sean himself. I mean, he was just, the way he jerked around in his character, like some actors have that ability to just kind of change the way they walk and the way they just stand. And I think Sean did that for this movie, went a little over the top. But like we said, not a movie we recommend anyway, right? But Michael J. Fox, amazing in this movie. It's his movie too. This is a Michael J. Fox movie. Yeah. So is there anything else you have on that one? Casualties of War, 1989. Nothing else? Yeah.
For this tidbit,
Okay.
for Michael J. Fox's shots, Penn would be telling him that he was just a little television actor, nothing
Yes.
more.
Yep.
And and
Tell me
De Palma wanted that real reaction
Yep.
from Michael J. Fox of like, you prick.
It was a tough movie for Michael to do, he said.
No kidding.
It was a tough movie all around.
It's kind of shocking he did that because he was, a television actor.
Yeah. He wanted to
Family
do something like
Ties
that,
and,
though.
and such a goody two
Yeah,
shoe that
I think he wanted to do something different, spread his wings, and he did, but it was a hard picture to make. And having Sean Penn follow you around all day, telling you're like a twerp, 2-bit actor, TV actor, it really broke him down. And it showed it in his performance. So maybe Sean Penn did a better job working up Michael J. Fox than actually acting in the movie, in my opinion. All right.
Okay.
I got a gem of a film I have next. What do you have next?
Probably the same one you do.
Well, let's hear it.
We're no angels.
Yes, sir. Woo! I love it. Dude, okay. All right. I've seen this movie several times. It's a comedy. Robert De Niro, Sean Penn star in it. You got John C. Reilly in it again. Just a bunch of cool actors in this movie. Demi Moore is in this movie. And I love his comedy. Sean Penn plays like a dumb guy. He's just stupid as shit. Dumb as nails. And they pretend to be priests. And it was like in another country or something, wasn't it?
Was it Canada?
Was it Canada? Because they're convicts,
Yeah.
right? And they escape and they end up hiding away in a monastery or something like that, right?
Yeah, they go to Canada.
They go to Canada to escape the law and ended up being priests the whole movie and having to cover up their identity. And it's really funny. It's a fun movie to watch. I recommend it very highly. Seeing Sean Penn act this way, a comedy role, just like Fast Times. Got a little glimpse of that again.
Kind of similar.
And it worked. I thought that De Niro did well in that role, too. Being a comedic actor.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the versatility, like, he does so much drama for the most part.
For the most part.
But he does some comedy. I mean, you saw that in Fast Times at Ridgemont and We're No Angel.
This was this was written by David Mamet, a Playhouse alum. All right. Robert De Niro and Sean Penn share the same birthday, August 17th. De Niro is 17 years older. They often have parties celebrating together on their birthdays. Thought that was a
awesome.
nice little tidbit there. Hanging out with the actors, having birthday parties. Okay. I don't want to think I want to get too much into We're No Angels.
Yeah,
It's,
it is what it is.
It's a movie to touch on.
Yeah.
And we'll move on to probably one of the best movies in my collection that I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, it's been a few years since I've seen it, more than a few years.
And what movie is that?
State of Grace.
State of Grace. Yes. State of Grace. Do you want to go ahead and talk about this one?
Yeah. 1990 came out. It was inspired by the real life Hell's Kitchen gang, the Westies.
Yes.
And a lot of the things that happened in the movie were based on actual events.
Okay.
Like the dead man hands.
Yes.
That,
That scene where he's up on that building with Gary Oldman, and they had that fridge, and what's in the fridge?
hands.
Hands.
Not attached to a body.
Now,
just
why,
hands
Dave? Why would they have hands in a refrigerator?
to set somebody up?
They would-
No fingerprints.
For
or
prints.
Fingerprints of a dead guy.
Yeah, they would keep hands in the to put fingerprints on a gun because Gary Oldman would say like, "You're so sick and tired of throwing away a perfectly good piece."
Yeah. I hope that was your favorite gun.
No,
That was later on in the movie, or earlier.
Earlier in the movie, I think. Do you want to mention that part?
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I mean, Sean Penn. Who the hell's he fighting with? I can't.
Oh, he was fighting with another gang or something like that.
Yeah, and he just takes his gun and fucking chucks it into the river. He's like, "I hope that was your favorite gun."
Hope you love that gun. Hope that was your favorite gun.
This movie, I mean, the story is pretty good.
Oh yeah,
it's solid.
It's very solid.
But the acting is even better. I mean, some of my favorites besides Penn, you got Oldman,
Oh,
who is amazing in this movie.
One of
And
his best
Ed
roles.
Harris, if you want to talk about underrated actors,
Yeah.
Ed Harris is pretty close to that list too.
yep.
And of course Robin Wright, not Robin Wright Penn anymore,
Right.
just Robin Wright.
That's where they met. They met on that
Yeah.
movie. Robin Penn. No, Robin Wright. Holy shit. But
We'll get it right.
But she is, of course, known for Princess Bride. That was her first big movie, Princess
Yeah.
Bride.
And of course the new House of Cards.
Yeah, she's known for House of Cards, of course. But back then, man, she was beautiful. In this movie, she looks so
She
young.
still is beautiful.
She's
though.
very beautiful still. And Penn fell head over heels for her.
Mm-hmm.
And this is after the breakup with Madonna, of course. And they end up getting married. Their relationship was kind of a weird relationship between the two of them. Don't you agree?
Well, I don't know a whole lot about it. I
Yeah.
think you know more about it than I do.
Divorce, and then they hook up again. I mean, they have kids together, so they constantly have to be around each other. Needless to say, but a very strange relationship, and they end up acting with one another a lot after this. They have no problem at all being in the same movie together, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, they know each other very well, and they trust each other to work together, and it works for them. They do very well together, and they did in this movie. State of Grace is a gem of a film, one that I recommend if you've never seen. You have to go out and get it, see it, love it, just study it. Watch it for the fun of it. I mean, it's a fun movie to watch.
Oh, sure.
I mean, Gary Oldman's all over the place in his acting. I mean, he's having a blast.
It's probably my favorite role of his.
I think so too. For me, Amy asked me that the other day. She goes, "What's your favorite Gary Oldman performance?" I'm like, "I think it's State of Grace."
It's gotta be.
It has to be. He has
Yeah.
so much fun with that role. It's really amazing.
He's so good.
And I want to put this is now the third straight movie for John C. Reilly with Sean Penn in top billing.
They like each other.
They do, I guess.
They work well.
They really do.
It's great though. I mean,
And Robin and Sean got married in 1996.
okay.
I'm trying to see here. I think that's a bit for State of Grace. I think I'm done talking about State of Grace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have anything
Okay.
else.
I want to mention The Indian Runner is the first movie that Sean Penn will direct. It was kind of low budget. It's starring Viggo Mortensen, and Sean Penn directs his ass off in this movie. I think that David Morse did a tremendous job. It's about two brothers. Okay, one comes back from Vietnam. He's a renegade. Always in trouble with the law, and David Morse plays a straight-laced cop, and he misses his brother. David misses his brother very much, and it's just a great film just to see like the two ends of the spectrum, where you have this straight-laced guy doing everything by the law, and then you have the brother who's a fuck-up, screw-up, and he ends up killing Dennis Hopper's character. Dennis Hopper is in this movie. He ends up just taking a chair and destroying him, killing him, and at the end of the movie, David Morse, the straight-laced cop brother, decides to let the little brother go. He lets him go across state lines and leave. And there are critics out there that say that this movie is a direct representation of who Sean Penn is as a person. You get the one end, okay, trying to be all straight-laced and do the right thing politically in your life sort of thing. And then you have the renegade, beating people up, not really following the law.
Especially if you have a camera.
Yes. So I think that this is what Sean wanted to do with this movie. It's noteworthy just to get a little glimpse more into the psyche of Sean Penn. And that's in The Indian Runner. So now we're going to go on to his next film, and that's what? What do you have?
Carlito's Way.
Me too.
Penn doesn't even look like himself at all.
He transformed himself.
And it was a lot of his idea. He wanted the receding hairline. He He wanted to look like fucking Larry from the Three Stooges.
Yes,
Apparently.
he did kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, he plays the lawyer of Al Pacino's.
a mob lawyer.
Right.
Crooked lawyer.
And the one note I have on here is this is another film by Brian De Palma, and he said apparently Penn demanded like 30 takes of the shot.
Yes, I have that too.
You have that too?
Yes.
Where he wanted 30 takes of this one shot. It's where he's asking Carlito to help him with Tony T's escape or something.
Yes.
And De Palma wanted to move on. He's just like, okay,
Yep, we're moving on.
we're Sean, we're done. And Penn was just fucking furious.
He wanted to keep going.
He was fighting with them, yelling at him on the set. And he's screaming at him. They're like, he continued to yell at him in the car. And then later on, called him up to continue this argument.
He wasn't done yelling at him.
He just had to keep going. He had a lot to say.
I think he wanted to punch him, really, but he couldn't. He couldn't punch the director.
It's like, if you were holding a camera with this, you would be dead.
Well, he was, but he's a director. He had the camera in front of him, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, but I mean, right.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny, that part.
It's like the only time they fought, but it
Yeah.
was
Oh, that's right. The director said that they worked well together.
yeah, obviously this is the second film they did together.
But that was the only time they fought, was about that.
Yeah.
And the funny part is that Penn called him up on the phone later that night to keep yelling at
That's
him.
what I just said.
I know,
yeah.
I know.
You
That was
like
my favorite part.
Yeah, me too. That's where I was just like, this is great.
I just wanted to point that out again because I like that part.
because Penn is at home or wherever he was, and just like that's it.
He was stirring.
I got more to say.
I'm not done.
So
Oh, God. Okay, I also have a cute little tidbit about this movie. According to John Leguizamo, who was in the movie as well, he and Penelope Ann Miller did not get along on set.
right.
He claims he got revenge on her by having the wardrobe department take her clothes in an inch so that she had to go on a crash diet. She thought she was gaining weight. What a dick.
Unbelievable.
But that's one way to get back at her, right?
I guess.
Cinch up her clothes.
I don't know how much I think of him as an actor, anyways.
He's okay. He's
Is
okay.
he though?
Eh,
I don't know how
I
much
think
of his
he gets the
work I
job
like.
done. He's okay. He's not one of my favorites, that's for sure.
I would hope not.
Okay, I thought I had a note here about something else, but I think that's all I have. Oh, yes. It was during this time, before this movie, Sean Penn was very adamant on quitting acting. He felt that he just couldn't do it anymore. It takes a lot out of you. I think he respects the work, but because it takes so much out of you, and even Gary Oldman mentioned this in an interview he gave, and he said that he dived into directing too for a short bit, did a few films.
Uh-huh.
And he felt that it was so much better, refreshing to be behind the camera instead of being in front of it. And Sean Penn said that it's like driving nails into your head every day. And being a director, you're on the other end, you get to be the hammer. And he felt that he was going to quit acting altogether, but he ended up doing this movie because he wanted to finance his next project, The Crossing Guard, with Jack Nicholson. He loved Jack Nicholson. He finally had a role for him to do. And this was going to be right up his alley. Jack said, hell yeah, I'll do it. So they collaborated to make The Crossing Guard. Now, I know you've seen it. Might have been a little while ago. Same for me.
Yeah, it's
but
been
it
a
was
while.
powerful.
Yeah, it is. It's about this guy who hits a girl
Yeah.
with his car.
David Morse's character, big guy.
Yeah.
In his car, he hit the girl, killed her.
And then Jack Nicholson is the father.
Yeah.
And Morris gets out of jail, and Nicholson's job is to kill Morris.
Yeah, like in the movie, you see Jack, and he's like standing in front of a calendar on the wall, and he has all the, how you cross off the
Crosses.
days. And the day that he's supposed to get out of jail, he's got circled like in a big red, because he knows that's the day he's getting out of jail, and he's going to fucking kill him as soon as he gets out of jail. So that's pretty much what the movie's all about. Jack trying to get up the courage to kill this guy, but he sees the human side of him as well. And
Which is interesting, because we'll talk about this in the next episode.
yeah,
At the very beginning, we're going to talk about Dead Man Walking.
uh-huh.
It's similar. Like, who...
Yeah.
Are we going to play God here in ending somebody's life for
Yes.
something that they did in the past?
Right.
So, that's there's a similarity, and it goes to show Sean Penn, when he has feelings about something,
There's strong feelings.
Yeah,
and
and he does projects that he has, you know, he feels that these are important issues, and he's going to do a movie about it because
yeah, and in doing so, you know his whole heart is going to be in it, and it's going to give a great film because of his passion. And he surrounds himself with just amazing talent. I mean, Jack Nicholson, David Morse, Angelica Houston was also in this movie. And my note here about Sean Penn personally is I feel Penn has an affection for children, and it shows in his work. He has a daughter, and has claimed that she has him wrapped around his finger. He loves his children very much. And he, I think, places into his work that love for his own children. And what would it be like to lose your child? It would be heart-wrenching, and it's something that he feels that could drive his work. And it's in this movie, too. I mean, a little girl is killed in this movie.
Yeah.
So a very touchy subject for Penn. And we're looking down at our time here, and we're going to wrap up this episode and come back with you next episode, part 2 of Sean Penn, and we're going to touch on Dead Man Walking when we return. So
yeah.
anything you wanted to say before we end this episode?
No, looking forward to part 2.
Part 2 is going to be
a
even
lot
better.
more movies to talk about.
Yes.
And we will be delving into the book that he has written
Yes.
just recently. Lots of things to say there.
I think this was a good episode, but I believe our next one is going to be even better. We're going to brush this off and come right back at you next episode, Sean Penn Part 2 of The Actors Room. My name's Jeff Trowski. I'm here with my brother Dave.
Hey.
And yay! And go ahead and remember to visit the website, theactorsroom.libsyn.com. We also have a Facebook page, and Dave reminded me to tell you that when you go on Facebook, just put in The Actors Room, and I come up. And I also have a Twitter account, @ActorsRoom. Be up there.
Leave comments. Even if it's bad, just start a conversation. Be like, hey, you're way off on this.
Yeah.
Or you missed that.
Yeah,
It's good to know these things because, you know.
Yeah, that's what Facebook is great for. Just leave a comment, like
Yeah,
quick little comment.
You know, mention someone else you'd like to hear about or who we should touch on. I know there's so many fucking actors and actresses that we could do, directors even if.
Performer, entertainer.
Yeah, I mean, there's, you know, it'd be nice to get feedback of some sort. So fucking just, you know.
Dave's pissed.
Fucking
So
do
am
it.
I. And before we end this episode, I do want to thank the support that I have out there. Although there aren't people leaving comments as we would like, there are people listening. My numbers are going up, and I will break 1,000 downloads this month. It's
Nice.
not even the 20th.
Hey, great.
So I even have 11 more days to crush that 1,000 downloads. So keep on listening. Look up those older episodes. I actually listened to Laurence Olivier episode a couple
Really
of days
good.
ago.
And is someone when okay, when Jeff was telling me like I asked who you were gonna do next with during that time, you're like Laurence Olivier, and I said, dude, don't. I'm like, no one's gonna give a shit.
No one's gonna
You
care,
know?
man. You might care, but
and
no.
that's just because I don't know a lot about him myself, and I was just like,
Why would
I
you
didn't
do
think
that?
it would be very interesting, but it turned out to be one of my favorites because I really didn't know much about him.
And he's fascinating.
Yeah,
Great
and I
guy.
learned a lot. It's good stuff.
Yeah, so just a reminder that there's so many other episodes out there that you can look up at the Actors Room. And, you know, Morgan Freeman, for some reason, is not that popular. Check
Really?
out Morgan Freeman.
What?
It's my least popular episode. Do you believe that?
Not really.
The Cleveland Browns have more hits than Morgan Freeman.
Okay,
so
that's fucked
please
up.
go back. Check out Morgan Freeman. Meryl Streep, I did. That was a really good one. So
Yeah.
please do that. Support the show even more. And I will leave you with this. Put in that movie tonight. One that makes you feel happy. You know, brush off the day. Put a movie in. Kick up your feet. Pour yourself a drink or 2 or 3. And enjoy the evening. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. God bless you. Have a good one.